In this video, I'm going to take you through a systematic way to remember everything you read. If you're anything like me, you love reading books, but you have probably forgotten a lot of things and haven't applied much of the stuff. About 1 year ago, I realized this was a big problem for me and I made a commitment to take action on the information that I was learning from the books. So the first part in remembering everything you read starts with having a clear aim. And this was a huge mistake that I was making in the beginning, because I remember following a popular advice on which books to read. In self-improvement, I remember when Atomic Habits came out, it was such a popular book, and I read all those books and all the other classics like Think and Grow Rich, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and the 4-Hour Workweek, and many more. But I was not applying the stuff because I didn't have a clear goal. It was not attached to a project. So next time you pick up a book, ask yourself, what do you want to get out of the book, and attach it to some kind of project. Because one thing we know from the human memory is when something is highly relevant and meaningful, our brain will make stronger connections, and this will help us in our retention and recall. So the second part in remembering everything you read is by understanding some principles. So one powerful principle that helped me remember more from books is the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule states that 20% of your actions produce 80% of your results. And if we translate that to reading books, when I'm reading books, I always look for the 20% that are encompassing the 80% of the information. So what I learned on this journey is, especially in self-improvement books, the most important information is in the first 3 chapters. This is a quick hack. If you want to go through books more effectively, understanding this will really help you, because most authors are incentivized by their publishers to front load the big ideas, because they know most people that buy self-help books don't read them, and those that actually read barely read after chapter 4. Now, the second principle in remembering more from books is by taking notes. I don't mean taking notes the classical and traditional way where you just copy-paste what you have read. You want to take notes on the things that you're reading that are sparking your intuition and curiosity. So for example, when you are reading through a book and something interesting sparks you and you feel it intuitively that there is something there, you want to follow your curiosity. This is a really good sign that you should take notes on them and then deeply reflect on it. Because when we as humans, something strikes our curiosity, it will create more synapses in our brain, and this will help us in our attention, because our brain craves novelty. That's why we love stories, and that's why we also love novel experiences. We crave that. The third principle that helped me remember more from my books is creating. And by that I mean you have to apply the information. Now, we are talking here in the context of self-improvement, business books, where you are reading those books because you want to. It's not something like in a school where you have to do it. And quite honestly, this is the most powerful principle in retaining information. Because when you engage deeply with the material and you express it in some form in another, for example, when you take detailed notes or when you make a 1-page summary of a book, and to take it even a step further, if you can teach something what you've learned, for example, what I'm doing in my YouTube channel, I'm learning stuff, I'm reading books, I'm listening to podcasts, then I apply the stuff, I get feedback, and then I share that information. It will make more synapses in my brain, and I'll remember much more than just rereading the books or looking at my notes. So there are a couple of ways where you can express what you've learned. You can start a YouTube channel, you can post on your blog, or if you're scared or you don't have the means to that, or you don't want to post things online, you can also take notes and write a blog post for yourself. Or you can share it with your close friends or family members what you've learned if you don't want to post it online. By the way, if you're finding this video valuable so far, let me know in the comment section below. Part 3. Now this is my process in remembering everything I read. Bear in mind, this has been a process of iteration, and I don't want you to follow this blindly. I'm not saying this is the best way, but it helped me tremendously remember more and actually apply the information. So before I read any book, I have a goal. For example, many years ago, I wanted to understand the basics of psychology and human nature. So I identified first, what are the foundational books that I can rely on? Because if you can understand the fundamental books and ideas in a certain field, it will get much easier to build other books on it. So when you read then further books, you will understand the patterns, and this will first reading books make more efficient and effective. So then I identify 2 to 3 foundational books, and before I even go to read them, I go online and search for summaries, because I want to know what are the fundamental ideas the authors have agreed on. I want to know what is universally accepted. And then I already have a core idea of what the books are about. After that, I do the obvious thing and buy the books. I prefer reading digitally. I have a Kindle because I think it's more efficient and more effective, but it doesn't matter. You can use physical books and follow this system if you want to. So usually I personally read 2 to 3 books simultaneously. When I'm reading those books, I skim through it and always ask myself, what is the essence? What are the core principles? I train myself to look for the most important ideas. Because to be honest, there are a lot of great books, but most books are really not good. Most books nowadays could just be a blog post. Now, I'm not throwing a shade at the authors. I also take notes on the things that I disagree on. Because if you disagree with something on a book, that's a good sign. Because then you're actively engaging with the material, and this will help you tremendously retain and recall more information. But the most important part in my process is taking immediate action. So after I've done all those things, I read through, I took notes, I reflected on the notes, I ask myself, how can I apply the information? This is the key. Personally, I try to force myself to take action on the information that I learned from the books. I'm not doing this perfectly. Sometimes I just slip up, I get in the trap on learning stuff and not applying stuff and feeling good and smart. Because remember, most people are unknowingly reading books for entertainment. They don't even realize that. And I was in that trap. So definitely try to take immediate action on the things that you learn, especially when we are talking about self-improvement. So for me, the best way to remember everything that I read from books is application, reflection, and then sharing the information like I'm doing right now. Now, trying to remember everything that you've learned is just one part of the equation. A lot of learning and retaining information has to do with organizing your life. And for that, I put together a very tactical video that you want to watch after this video. This video will surprise you. This is not the classical how to organize your life. It goes way deeper. It's not about making to-do lists and calendars. You want to really watch this video next. As always, thank you for watching. If you found this video valuable, let me know in the comment section below. Like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I see you in the next one.